Let's start with Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Let's do some Radha Jha. Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha. We are reading chapter 9, text, we were on text 9. Yes, text 9. No, text 10. Yes. Let's start from text 10, chapter 9. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Let's read the purport. It is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord, although aloof from all the activities of the material world, remains the Supreme Director. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Will and the background of this material manifestation, but the management is being conducted by material nature. Wait, let me read that again. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Will and the background of this material manifestation, but the management is being conducted by the material nature. Krishna also states in Bhagwat Geeta that of all the living entities in different forms and species, I am the Father. The Father gives seeds to the womb of the mother for the child, and similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his mere glance, injects all the living entities into the womb of material nature, and they come out in their different forms and species according to their last desires and activities. All these living entities, although born under the glance of the Supreme Lord, take their different bodies according to their past deeds and desires. So the Lord is not directly attached to this material creation. He simply glances over the material nature. Material nature is thus activated, and everything is created immediately. Because he glances over material nature, there is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Supreme Lord, but he has nothing to do with the manifestation of the material world directly. This example is given in the Smriti. When there is a fragrant flower before someone, the fragrance is touched by the smelling power of the person, yet the smelling and the flower are detached from one another. There is a similar connection between the material world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, he has nothing to do with this material world, but he creates by his glance and ordains. In summary, material nature without the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot do anything. Yet, the Supreme Personality is detached from all the material activities. Yes. Let's move to text 11. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. Okay. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. Let's read the purport. From the other explanation of the previous verses in this chapter, it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing like a human being, is not a common man. The personality of Godhead, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation, cannot be a human being. Yet there are many foolish men who consider Krishna to be merely a powerful man and nothing more. Actually, he is the original Supreme Personality, as is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. He is the Supreme Lord. There are many Ishwaras, controlling, controllers, and the one appears greater than the other. In the ordinary management of affairs in the material world, we find some official or director, and above him there is a secretary, and above him a minister, and above him a president. Each of them is a controller, but one is controlled by another. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that Krishna is the supreme controller. There are many controllers, undoubtedly, both in the material and spiritual world, but Krishna is the supreme controller. Ishvara Paramaha Krishnaha, and his body is Sachidanandan, non-material. So, material bodies cannot perform the wonderful acts described in previous verses. His body is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Although he is not a common man, the foolish deride him and consider him to be a man. His body is called here Manushya because he is acting just like a man, a friend of Arjun's, a politician involved in the battle of Kurukshetra. In so many ways, he is acting just like an ordinary man. But actually, his body is Sachitanandan, Vigraha, eternal bliss and knowledge absolute. This is confirmed in the Vedic language also. Sachitanandan Rupaya Krishnaya. I offer my obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is the eternal blissful form of knowledge. This is written in Gokala Tapani Upanishad 1.1. There are other descriptions in the Vedic language also. Tam ekam Govindam. You are Govinda, the pleasure of the senses and the cows. Sachita Nandan Vigramaha. And your form is transcendental, full of knowledge, bliss, and eternality. Despite the transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna's body, its full bliss and knowledge, there are many so-called scholars and commentators of Bhagwat Geeta who deride Krishna as an ordinary man. The scholar may be born an extraordinary man due to his previous good work, but this conception of Sri Krishna is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Therefore, he is called Mudha, for only foolish persons consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being. The foolish consider Krishna an ordinary human being because they do not know the confidential activities of the Supreme Lord and his different energies. They do not know that Krishna's body is a symbol of complete knowledge and bliss, that he is the proprietor of everything that be, and that he can award liberation to anyone. Because they do not know that Krishna has so many transcendental qualifications, they deride him. Nor do they know that the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this material world is a manifestation of his internal energy. He is the master of the material energy. As has been explained in several places, he claims that the material energy, although very powerful, is under his sorry, sorry, is under his control, and whoever surrenders unto him can get out of the control of this material energy. If a soul surrendered to Krishna can get out of the influence of the material energy, then how can the Supreme Lord who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the whole cosmic nature have a material body like us. So, this conception of Krishna is complete foolishness. Foolish persons, however, cannot conceive that the personality of Godhead, Krishna, appearing just like an ordinary man, can be the controller of all atoms and of the gigantic manifestation of the universal form. The biggest and the minutest are beyond their conception, so they cannot imagine, right? That a form like that of a human being can simultaneously control the infinite and the minute. Actually, although he is controlling the infinite and the finite, he is apart from all this manifestation. It is clearly stated concerning his Yogam Aishwaram, his inconceivable transcendental energy, that he can control the infinite and the finite simultaneously, and that he can remain aloof from them. Although the foolish cannot imagine how Krishna, who appears just like a human being, can control the infinite and the finite, those who are pure devotees accept this, for they know that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Therefore, they completely surrender unto him and engage in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord. There are many controversies between the impersonalist and the personalist about the Lord's appearance as human being. But if we consult Bhagwat Geeta and Srimad Bhagavatam, an authoritative text for understanding the signs of Krishna, then we can understand that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is not an ordinary man, although he appeared on this earth as an ordinary human. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, when the sages headed by Shaunaka inquired about the activities of Krishna, they said, Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with Balram, played like a human being, and so must he performed many superhuman acts. Bhagavatam 1.1.20. The Lord's appearance as a man bewilders the foolish. No human being could perform the wonderful acts that Krishna performed while he was present on this earth. When Krishna appeared before his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, he appeared with 4 hands. But after the prayers of the parents, he transformed himself into an ordinary child. As stated in the Bhagavatam 10.3.46, Babhu Prakrata Shishu. He became just like an ordinary child, an ordinary human being. Now, here again it is indicated that the Lord's appearance as an ordinary human being is one of the features of his transcendental body. In the 11th chapter of Bhagwat Geeta, also it is stated that Arjun prayed to see Krishna's form of 4 hands, Tanaiva Rupena Chatur Bhujena. After revealing this form, Krishna, when positioned by Arjun, again assumed his original human-like form, Manusham Rupam. These different features of the Supreme Lord are certainly not those of an ordinary human being. Some of those who some of those who deride Krishna and who are infected with the Mayavadi philosophy quote the following verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.29.21 to prove that Krishna is just an ordinary man. The Supreme, in quotes, in quotes, the Supreme is present in every living entity. We should better take note of this particular verse from the Vaishnava Acharyas like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, instead of following the interpretation of unauthorized persons who deride Krishna. Jiva Goswami commenting on this verse, says that Krishna, in his plenary expansion as Paramatma, is situated in the moving and the non moving entities as the super soul. So, any neophyte devotee who simply gives his attention to the Archamurti, the form of the Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entities, is uselessly worshipping the form of the Lord in the temple. This is so powerful. There are three kinds of devotees of the Lord, and the neophyte is the lowest stage. The neophyte devotee gives more attention to the deity in the temple than to the other devotees. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur warns that this sort of mentality should be corrected. A devotee should see that because Krishna is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma, everybody is the embodiment or the temple of the Supreme Lord. So, as one offers respect to the temple of the Lord, he should similarly properly respect each and every body in which Paramatma dwells. Everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. There are also many impersonalists who deride temple worship. They say that since God is everywhere, why should one restrict himself to temple worship? But if God is everywhere, is he not in the temple or in the deity? Although the personalist and the impersonalist will fight with one another perpetually, a perfect devotee in Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality, he is all pervading, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Although his personal abode is Goloka Vrindavan and he is always staying there, by his different manifestation of energy and by his planetary expansion, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation. It was a very long text. Let's move to text 12. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. Yes. Let's read the purport. There are many devotees who assume themselves to be to be in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, but at heart do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For them, the fruit of devotional service going back to Godhead will never be tasted. Similarly, those who are engaged in fruitive, pious activities and who are ultimately hoping to be liberated from this material entanglement will never be successful either because they deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. In other words, persons who mock Krishna are to be understood to be demonic or atheistic. As described in the seventh chapter of Bhagwat Geeta, such demonic miscreants never surrender to Krishna. Therefore, their material speculations to arrive at the absolute truth bring them to the false conclusion that the ordinary living entity and Krishna are one and the same. With such a false conviction, they think that the body of any human being is now simply covered by material nature, and that as soon as one is liberated from this material body, there is no difference between God and himself. This attempt to become one with Krishna will be baffled because of delusion. Such atheistic and demonic cultivation of spiritual knowledge is always futile. That is the indication of this verse. For such persons, cultivation of the knowledge in the Vedic literature, like the Vedanta Sutra and the Upanishads, is always baffled. It is a great offense, therefore, to consider Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to be an ordinary man. Those who do not do so are certainly deluded because they cannot understand the eternal form of Krishna. The Brad Vishnu Smriti clearly states, I'm reading in English version, one who considers the body of Krishna to be material should be driven out from all rituals and activities of the Shruti and the Smriti. And if one by chance sees his face, one should at once take bath in the Ganga to rid himself of infection. People jeer at Krishna because they are envious of the personality of Godhead. Their destiny is certainly to take birth after birth in the species of aesthetic and demonic life. Perpetually, their real knowledge will remain under delusion, and gradually they will regress to the darkest region of the creation. Right. Let's read text 13 and then we will close. Okay. O son of Pratha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in the devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Let's read the purport. In this verse, the description of the Mahatma is clearly given. The first sign of the Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of material nature. Now and how is this effected? That is explained in the seventh chapter. One who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna at once becomes free from the control of material nature. That is the qualification. One can become free from the control of the material nature as soon as he surrenders his soul to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the preliminary formula. Being marginally potent, being marginally potency as soon as the living entity is freed from the control of the material nature, he is put under the guidance of the spiritual nature. The guidance of the spiritual nature is called Devi Prakriti, divine nature. So when one is promoted in that way, by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one attains to the stage of great soul, Mahatma. The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original Supreme Person and cause of all causes. There is no doubt about it. Such a Mahatma or a great soul develops through association with other Mahatmas, which are pure devotees. Now, pure devotees are not even attracted by Krishna's other features, such as the four-armed Mahavishnu. They are simply attracted by the two-armed form of Krishna. They are not attracted to other features of Krishna, nor are they concerned with any form of a demigod or of a human being. They meditate only upon Krishna in Krishna consciousness. They are always engaged in the unswerving service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. Let's end here with Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Let's do some Radha Jap. Radha, Shri Radha, 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 Radha, Shri Ram. Hare Krishna.